are is to, again, bring some of your personality into it. I'm going to use corporate as an example. Corporate is a uniform in North America for sure. And women and men can bring some of their personality through, maybe men with a tie in a certain color, and women with some accessory or a color of their top or something like that. You're bringing a little bit of your personality into something that's very rigid. I totally agree with education. So when you are traveling to different countries, have an idea of what is acceptable. Yesterday, in a session that I sat in on, the young woman giving the presentation had an excellent slide about Princess Kate, and how when she came to India, she wore, she had dresses designed that had a bit of the pattern in it, or the way the lace was. It was still made for her personality, but it was bringing a little bit of the country in. So doing things like that. And I know when I travel, I make sure, are my shoulders covered? What's the length of something? It's all about education. I totally agree.
Thank you, Karen, for that. And just still supporting what you were saying about bringing in some of our own into it, our own personality into it, and while at the same time that balance with blending in with wherever you're going to be. For example, this is my own creation. I made this dress. The fabric is from Africa, from Cameroon, where I come from. But I have other African prints. And I dye fabric sometimes, but I deliberately chose this one because this print is very similar to, please, could you just come over, my dear? Yeah. What she's wearing. Now, she's from here, but if you look at our prints, it's very similar. So this is me celebrating my heritage, and she is from India, I'm from Africa, but there isn't much difference. I try to find something, the common ground, you know what I'm saying? And I have this. I don't know how to tie the sari. If I did, it'd be falling off every minute. But I have a sash. You know what I'm saying? Thank you. So yes. So that you do things like that. And there's this saying that I always say that we all have white teeth. You know what that means? That is the one thing that we all have, our smile. Everybody has white teeth. Whether you're Indian, whether you're African, Chinese, British, we all have white. That's one thing we all have in common. And actually, smiling is a fashion accessory. Do you know if you're going somewhere and you're strange in the sense that you're different, and so people are a bit nervous, they don't know where to place you. But from a distance, there's one thing that they can see. Smile. And already they begin to understand that you're friendly, you're saying, I come in peace. It brings down the barriers. So I would recommend smiling as a fashion accessory. We all have white teeth. And that means that we are all the same.
In all the discussions that I've seen as image consultants and fashion designers, I find that there is partiality to being homogeneous as white milk. And it is a rather bleak perspective of fashion if this is the day of multiculturalism, diversity, and inclusiveness. Why should somebody's print looks like Indian? Why cannot I see you in beautiful African colors so that I can get educated? So the second question is, when people see me in a sari, and I have been in a sari for 45 years in America, I am a PhD from NYU, I'm an artist, I fought it all in a sari. The difference is bewildering. Education is important. I am sure all of you, when you saw me in a sari, felt I was traditional. And it is an image that all of you should also be aware of. Thank you.
saying is that even our fashion could become a weapon of education, enlightening people about our different cultures. So what you are advocating is that sometimes you could go all out there, be bold, like you in your sari.
Be a fighter.
Yes. Be a fighter.
Box them out. That's how you create it. These are very important.
Yes.
What you were talking about.
She's passionate about it, and she said that she's been that way for so many years because she wants to. You creating your own image, you're creating your own brand, you're communicating about your culture.
Yes, the funny thing is, it is not just, I was in America, in New York, it is not discrimination or prejudice from the whites or the blacks, but by the browns. Because
Okay,
when a young girl sees me in a sari, in a shop, she thinks I'm fresh off the boat. And she comes to me in a broken English and talks to me, way me go. And I told her, I'm a PhD, who are you?
I loved her.
Okay, I've learned a new one today about the browns. We all have white teeth. But that's interesting that you brought that story, and that's so true. And that's the more reason why we have to be more deliberate about the way we dress, because it's going to provoke a reaction whether you like it or not. So because they're either going to decide that they should speak in broken English to you, or they'll probably decide that they should shoot you all together or cross the street and go on the other side. Yes, please.
I have two grandchildren, they're both girls. One is 12 years old, they're just reaching puberty, and the other one is just 3 months old. I'm very concerned by the fashion shape of women that's pervaded in the newspapers, and by the fashion houses. The leading fashion houses are really promoting skinny. And also, I'm very concerned that, although there's reference to the teenage of back in the 70s, where women wanted to not look like their mothers, and you all, I'm sure, know young girls don't want to look like their mothers. But how can you, or with you professionals, influence the fashion houses and the shops to sell clothes which don't promote the look of beautiful little girls before puberty to look like tops?
Oh, that's a good one. Thank you so much, as one concerned mom to another, for bringing that up. And it's really true, the fashion industry and the image. And in the fashion industry, of course, I'm a large size. Of course, I'd like to think I'm larger than life because of what I do, but not, So the skinnier they are, it's cheaper to produce for those skinny girls. Plus, to mention, it's cheaper fabric-wise. It takes less fabric. I'm a dressmaker. You go, they sell fabric, it's 45 inches wide. Because they're so skinny, 1 meter, 1.5 meters is enough. It's cheaper to produce for those skin. It's also less complicated, again, and make clothes. Because they don't have any curves that you've got to contend with. So, you just draw straight lines and, put it together. And they've got nice, gorgeous, long legs. I give them that, and they walk now. But the reality, and that's another where we have problems, because the reality is most of us who are going to buy those dresses are not straight like that. So it might look good on a straight girl, but then me, when I wear it and, I've got some things sticking out here, there, areas I don't want to talk about, then the dress doesn't look so good on. So that's the one thing we really, and when I do fashion shows, my samples, I usually tell my daughters to tell their friends, I say my samples, I start from size 3. I don't do any samples below size 3. I don't. I say because I can't even remember when I was size 3, and I really, I say for a start, and I really don't think that it's realistically possible. Very few women have the brain grace, I would say, or the gift of remaining that small when they're mature. So I start from 3 and go on. And then talking about the exposure, the vulgarity of the clothes that are young are wearing now. Again, a lot of those designers are influenced by, I would say that I think they're influenced by Hollywood, but they would probably be angry with me for saying that, because the truth is that really a lot of those dresses that are on the catwalks cannot be worn by everyday women, and all that cleavage here, the neckline, the plunge is all the way to the belly button. That's too much. I mean, that's really for the movies. But the thing is, when people's motivations is probably money and then moral standards and things. So personally, I would encourage parents, set your values at home. Set your values yourself. You make a decision for your children what is appropriate dressing and what isn't. And do one better than that. Tell them why it's not appropriate. Because children now don't go well with, oh, you can't wear that. Oh, you can't wear that. They rebel. But tell them, honey, I don't want you dressing like that because this is what it will do. This is the impression that you're, this is what people will think of you. And if you're not that person, you don't want people to think of you that way. So I've got 3 daughters. And so I'm concerned too, but I've told them, I say, you don't have to be like your friends. You don't have to be like that. Your dressing must speak about who you are. If you're not a prostitute, don't dress like one. And things like that. So for me, I found that helpful. Like that.
Can you have a comment? Can I just add something else to
Yes.
what I was saying? Then you can comment. Because it's I think what my friend Angela was saying is I'm also a grandmother. I tell you, I've got the most gorgeous grandmother. When she was 7 years old, I said to my daughter, should I get her something? She loves shopping. She loves shopping. Very good budget. And she has shopping here. I said, okay. But we went there and she takes so long. I said, tell you what. I said, Scarlett, you go around and I go around and we meet in the middle. I'll show you something. She looks at me, not this girl. Not this girl. Then I come back to her and say, but I found this. This is very nice. Not this girl. Grandma. I said, why not? Grandma, you mind not choosing for me? Because, you're almost like from another planet. You don't know what fashion is. I'm not even talking about low cut or something. She's 7, she's becoming 8. Okay, at that time, a little year ago. But then she was saying to me, this is not fashionable. They're in the fashion show. Okay, so therefore, what I think you're saying, and what I am worried about as well, why are even little children, like 7, 8, so influenced by what is fashion? She would not wear something. She would wear a dirty dress if she didn't think it was fashionable. So therefore, this is what, this is nothing to do with saving money. This is nothing to do with even low cut, which I am against as well. But